wanted to address why sales is so triggering for people. And honestly, it's a little triggering for me too, right? Because we have such negative connotations about sales. It's like you say the word and people just run. And when it's part, or at least becomes part of your job, if you're a consultant, you're a CEO and of a small business and you are required to sell and you're not a professional salesperson, becoming that person, embodying that role can be really challenging. So, here are three simple things to think about when you have a negative feeling about sales. Number one, the reason that the word sales gets such negative, has such a negative connotation is that we think of sales, really bad salespeople, as people who don't listen, right? They don't listen. They just kind of railroad over us when they're talking. They're just trying to find out if we're going to buy or not. And they don't listen at all. They're not actually listening to our problem. And the reality is you are probably a really good listener. You are really trying to hear what the problem is so that you can recommend a service and a solution that is actually going to transform their lives. So if the negative sort of connotation around this like horrible salesperson that doesn't listen and just wants what they want, that actually doesn't apply to you, does it? If you think about it, right? Are you that person? Probably not. The other thing is we think of salespeople as being really rude when we say, let's say we say, well, no, I'm not really that interested now. And they're rude, maybe not even just during the call. Like we might ask them questions, well, what about this or what about that? And they get super rude and they get impatient. But you're not like that. You're happy to answer questions that they have. And you are gracious, I'm sure, when they say that they're not interested. Now, are you frustrated? Yes, absolutely, without question. And are you going to try to ask further questions to ensure that you really can help them? Yes, but you're not rude. You're not going to be rude or to this or impatient with this person, right? So the idea that sales is really all that negative sort of connotations around being a salesperson, it doesn't apply to you in this case either. And the third thing is that when we think of a bad salesperson, they try to sell people things they don't really need. Like, think about when you went somewhere and somebody was really being pushy and they were trying to sell you something you really just had no need for. The fact is, you don't want to try to sell something to somebody that they don't need. And why? Because it's not going to help you to try to put a circle through a square, because you're going to spend so much time with this client and then they're probably going to back out of the deal anyway, and it's going to cause a big mess. So the point in all of this is that all of those negative connotations you have about salespeople, which is they don't listen, they're rude and impatient, and they're just trying to sell us something that we don't actually need. Ask yourself, is that me? Is that who I am? And if the answer is no, which it probably is, then you don't have to, you can go about your business having conversations with people about helping them with your services without having it being a triggering, really negative event. So I hope that kind of gets your mind shift a little bit off of where, what your role is as a salesperson, and that it doesn't have to conform to the really negative stereotype of salespeople. If you have some feedback and comments about these ideas, I would love to hear them in the comments. I hope you'll enter them below. And until next week, I hope you have a good one. Bye.